Hi, I am a nameless blob, and today I am going to be talking about an issue that has become especially prominent in today's world, and that is misinformation found online. Now, there's a lot of different types of misinformation about many different topics. However, I'm actually going to be focusing on one specific topic, and that is drugs, or in this case, opioids, due to them actually being one of the most addictive and fatal drugs in the world, with the top two most dangerous drugs, according to death tolls, being fentanyl and heroin, which, you guessed it, are opioids. In fact, in 2022, there was an estimated 81,800, so almost 82,000 overdose deaths, with a whopping 90% of those being from opioids, which is just an insane number and is so sad and unfortunate that so many lives were taken that way. Today, I'm here to hopefully help you out. I'm going to be going through as many common facts total about opioids and either confirm their factuality or out them as fake. Okay, so the first fact that I found online is that if you are prescribed an opioid by a doctor, it is not dangerous. This is just not true. Any opioid can be dangerous. The difference is when you get it from a doctor, you will be given instructions on how to take them. And as long as you follow those instructions, you will be fine. Because doctors know the correct dosage and amount to give people so that they won't have any problems. If you don't follow those instructions, then you're going to have a problem and are at risk of getting addicted or maybe even overdosing. The second piece of misinformation I found online that I am going to bring up is that all opioids are the same. For example, if the doctor prescribed me one type of opioid, then that prescription carries over to all other types of opioids too. Again, this is not true. All opioids are different with different potencies and effects. So the next piece of misinformation that I found online about opioids is that you can just stop taking them whenever you want. This is not true. I feel like some people may think that it's just all about willpower and self-control, which is actually a really bad way to think, because then it makes it really easy to use that as an excuse to keep taking. However, especially with very addictive drugs like opioids, they can actually cause physical dependence, which is when your body needs the drugs to do basically anything. And that's really bad because then it makes it even harder to stop taking whether you want to or not. So the final piece of misinformation that I found online, it's a little less about opioids and just about drugs as a whole, but I thought that it was important enough that I should mention it because it is very important. And that is, I found like a surprising amount of things online, just like websites, saying that you can tell if something is laced with like fentanyl or something. And that can be so horrible, and it's just not true. And it can be, and that kind of thing, lacing drugs is so horrible because you don't know. You could just be taking a drug and thinking it's just something normal, and turns out no, it's undetectable. In fact, look at these two images. One of them is an actual prescription medication that you might get from your doctor. The other is what's called a fake pill, and it's laced with heroin. That very well may kill you. Which one do you think it is? You'd be lying if you said you know. It's the left one, by the way. But the issue is that so many people are having this issue of not knowing if something is fake or not. Now, good thing is there is a way to test this with these test strips. They basically just test the drug and tell you if there's something in it that you probably should not be taking. And it is something that if you were planning on doing drugs and if you don't know the source, or even if you do, you should just check it just to play it safe, because there could be some really dire consequences. And so that is it. That's some of the most dire and dangerous and common false information that I found concerning drugs on the internet. I hope I helped you learn something today, and I will see you later.